It's popcorn ready.
All right. Everyone here has heard the story of David and Goliath. There's a couple of interesting concepts about the story that I don't know if you've considered before. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. But I want to talk about them today. Number one, this is a very public setting when David walks out to confront Goliath. It's public. It's not like they're scrapping in a back alley somewhere. There's thousands and thousands of witnesses to see what's about to happen. And David saunters out with an attitude that you really wouldn't expect. It's not that he was cocky, but he was certainly sure of himself, and he was actually wondering, why is no one else doing anything here? The question he asked, he said, are you guys going to let this Philistine talk bad about the armies of God? What are we doing here? He did not understand not going out to do battle with a giant. Now this guy, obviously, Goliath, was huge and scared everyone to death. And so for 40 days he stood out there and yelled and no one wanted to fight him. Why is it that a slight guy, a guy who wasn't very big, showed up and had all this confidence and thought everybody else was crazy for not going out and fighting him? Well, there's two reasons. There's two things that I want to point out about David, and those two things are very relevant for you. The first one is David knew his mission was correct. He was on the right side. You know, when you know that you're doing the right thing and you're on the right side, you go forward with confidence. You're fighting for a cause that's the right cause, you do it with courage. But when you're taking shortcuts, you're maybe looking over at somebody's paper in class, or you're over here in the weight room going about 80% when you ought to be going 100, your mind and your conscience begins to work against you because you know you're doing the wrong thing. When you're supposed to be giving full effort and you're not, that starts to erode your confidence and courage. And now when you take the field, you take the court, you don't have real full confidence because you know you've been taking a shortcut. You know you've been cheating yourself, your program, your teammates. But see, David's mission was true. It was pure. So when he showed up that day for game day, he had all the courage in the world because he knew, I've been living right, I've been true to my mission. So do things the right way gives you courage. Here's the second thing. He wasn't worried about what would happen in public because he knew what had been happening in private. Remember, in the story, he said, listen, God has delivered a lion to me. I don't know if you know the backstory, but David had killed a lion with his bare hands. He also killed a bear when nobody was around, just him and the sheep he was supposed to be guarding. By the way, you're guarding something today. You're guarding your integrity. You're guarding the body that God has given you. You're guarding your work ethic. You're guarding every team that you own. You have things to guard. David had sheep to guard. And he guarded them from a lion and a bear and anything else, and he did it all in private. I've told you many times before, what you do in private determines what happens in public. So David had guarded sheep in private and had all these private victories. So guess what? In public, he wasn't at all concerned. His mission was true, and he did what he was supposed to do in private. So my question today is your mission true? You do your own schoolwork, you work as hard as you can, you give your best effort. And that weight room is private. It's private to you and to me and to your teammates. You bust your tail in there in private, you'll never have to worry about what happens in public. You can go forward with confidence, understanding that the fight has already been won somewhere else. Everybody with me today?
Sir.
Have the right mission, do the right thing when it's private, and everything works out in public. Okay.